and welcome to this April and May reading wrap-up. Yes, I'm combining 2 months because in April I think I read 2 or 3 books. There really wasn't that many to make a video on it, but combine it with May and I had a good reading month. So as always, we will start with the 1 stars all the way down, all the way up to the 5s. So we're going to start low and end high. So for my 1 stars, I decided to try to get back into poetry and continue with the series A Poem for Every Season. And I read the poem for every winter's day. I read it in winter. I kind of liked that one. It was all right. These ones just... You would think, with the covers being what they are, that you would expect to find poems for spring. You know, like new life, greenery, things waking up, etc. Not politics and war, which is what I got out of that. And it was the same for the Every Summer Day. You would expect holidays, beaches, heat, sun, animals basking in the fields, golden everywhere. I got politics and war again. No, just no. You only get 1 star. It's only not a DNF just because I wanted to get to the end to see if there was a poem that I actually liked. And as you can see from the few tabs that I have, there were a few that I liked. Like 4 in one and 7 in the other out of hundreds. So no. These, as soon as I only have the autumn one to go. I hope that it's better, but as soon as it's done, I'm selling the full set. I don't want it on my shelf. So the next 1 star up is A Forest of Vanity and Valour by A.P. Beswick. And it's not really a 1 star, it's a DNF. I got through kudos to my mother for finishing the damn series, but I just could not do it. And I wanted so much to like it. The cover is awesome. I love the cover art. I love the cover art of the whole series. And yes, this is one that I bought into the hype. I bought into the hype on TikTok. Kudos to the author for doing all his own promoting because it worked. I ended up buying the whole set before I'd even read the first one. And on reading the first one, I couldn't even get past the first couple of chapters because it was bad. It was bad. Now this first one, it's supposed to be a dark retelling of the myth of Robin Hood. And I thought, oh great, I love myth and legends, especially the English ones. That sounds right up my alley. It was awful. It was a bad character. It was badly written. And it was just, no, I want to normalise not finishing a book when you really don't like it. You really don't have to finish it. There is absolutely nothing to say that if you don't like a book that you have to finish it. Just don't finish it. You only get a set time on this earth. Why spend it reading bad books? This was a bad book. And thankfully I did skip ahead through a few pages to see if it got any better, and there is the introduction of one of my all-time favourite characters of Morgana, and she's supposed to be this big bad in this series. But the bits that I read with her in were just like... I'm glad I didn't continue. I am really glad I didn't continue, because I ended up selling the whole set, because I don't need that. I don't need books of that calibre on my shelf. I don't want it. I will never read it. And every time I look at it, I will think, you just were not worth what I paid for you. Not worth it. So with that, we have done with our 1 stars. We are on to the 2s, because we do have a 2. That being Ghost Tamer by Meredith Lyons. Now this came in a Twisted Retreat book box. £66 this book box is, mostly because it's £44 for shipping from America. But this was not worth £66. Absolutely not. I got fucking robbed. No. The premise was good. The premise got me into it. And it looks pretty. I do have a full video review of this if you want to click. I think I'll have it linked down below because it's trying to be a horror. It's marketed as a horror/thriller. you talk to the dead, etc. It's not. It doesn't fall into neither category. If it's anything, it's just paranormal, wishy-washy tripe. But it gets 2 stars for effort. And 2 stars because it made me part with my money. So well done for that. And now we get into the good ones. We get into the 3 stars, which is normally what I give a book. It's my usual number to go to. And the first one up, I restarted the Last Kingdom series by Bernard Cornwell. I have read, I think, the first 3 books before. Forgot everything that happens in it, so I reread The Last Kingdom. It's a TV series, I haven't watched it either. But I enjoy it. It's nice, it's the history, it's got Vikings, it's got Danes. I enjoy reading this. So it's based on the history of how Alfred the Great managed to unify England. It was separated into lots of different kingdoms, and this chronicles the fight to get it to that point. Now, we're not in the mind of Alfred the Great, we're in the mind of Uhtred. I butchered it. But I really enjoy it. I'm enjoying this series, and I have already read the second one. And then for another 3 stars, it is this one, Stephen King at the Movies. Now, this is not to be confused with the collectible one, which is Stephen King Goes to the Movies. And that one was written by Stephen King. This one is not. It was written by Ian Nathan, and this has all of the films, the TV series, everything from Carrie in 1976 to 2000s, and just some of the stills and art. I mean, look at this. Some of the the artwork in this is what really sells it to me. I enjoyed finding out what happens with it all. I mean, look at it all. With the Dead Zone. I mean, there's TV series and movies in here that I didn't even know that he'd done. And we're not going to speak. We're not going to speak of this one. It doesn't exist. But I found it enlightening. It's got interviews with people, and it's got the behind the scenes of what happens, how to get them, where it get them. Of course, like the Green Mile, and how it got where it got. And then you get into the 80s sort of slasher weird ones. Just odd. So yeah, I really enjoyed reading this. It was very enlightening, especially for a Stephen King fan. Now for another 3.5 stars, we have A Cursed Kiss. I'm not going to go too much into it because I do have a review video just dropped all about this book. But I mean, it's the first book that I got in the Butterfly Book Club box, and it is not usually the kind of book I would go for. I have been avoiding fair romantasy like the plague, and I have been successful up to now, when I decided, I might as well just... I got it in the box, I might as well just read it, find out what's going on with it. It was alright. It went a bit slow for my liking and wasn't dark enough when it could have been. But 3.5 stars, I enjoyed reading it. And if you like fair romantasy or like fantasy, like cosy fantasy I think they call it now, this is cosy. It's quite cosy. It's easy to read, it's nice, it's just nice. And then yes, I am caught up in the Bridgerton hype. I still have the other books to read, and then I will probably be selling this set. There's great demand for it. It's the Illumicrate Bridgerton set. As soon as I get through the other books, I'll probably end up selling it at some point. But yeah, this one was the Viscount Who Loved Me. It is the second book in the Bridgerton series, and it deals with eldest son Anthony and finding his wife, Kid. I have another video, full video, reviewing this, so if you haven't already, check that out. It's not the most flavoursome review with the Bridgerton fangirls, please don't come for me, but I did like it. And then for our last 3.5 stars, it is Shields of Pride by Elizabeth Chadwick. I love getting into historical fiction, and this one is all about a mercenary called Jocelyn de Gaulle around the time when Henry II's sons rebelled against him. It's a really good time in history. I enjoyed reading this. It goes dark, not hard enough, but it is an early book of hers. We give it kudos for that. But if you want to see the full review of this book, it is tagged down below, or it is available if you go searching on my channel. Go searching, you never know what you might find. But I really enjoyed reading this. I enjoyed getting back into historical fiction. I enjoy reading this. It isn't one of my favourites of hers, but I thought it did and dealt with things really, really well. There's so much trauma between these pages, it's unreal. So now we're getting into our 4 stars, and for 4 stars this is the second book in the Last Kingdom series, being The Pale Horseman. And I liked this more than the first one. You don't get as much background of the characters, because from the first one you already know who they are, who the big players are. It's political, there are battles, there's more battles in this one, which is probably why I liked it so much. And a lot more sort of politicking, not really politicking, but, you know, sneaking around and spying, and you go Viking, and blood, guts, glory, I'm here for it. And then for our next 4-star read, we have Murder at the Vicarage by Agatha Christie. And this is one of the introductions we have of Miss Marple. I really like the Miss Marple series on television. I enjoy watching it. I like how she's just sort of a doddery old biddy. You know, she's a quiet little lady in a sleepy country village. You know, she has a knitting circle, she has her gossipy friends, and she contents herself with doing that and solving gruesome murders that happen in her vicinity. And Miss Marple is my favourite of the Agatha Christie characters. She narrowly beats out Poirot, but her books are not my favourite. They're not my ultimate favourite. That is a Poirot book, which we will get to. But The Murder at the Vicarage, I loved everything about it. All the little secrets that you find out. It's Midsummer Murders on crack. I loved it. So our next 4-star book is Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson. And this is the Fairy Loot edition. It didn't come in a book box. You can just go on their website and buy single books if you want. This has been on my pile, or TBR pile, for ages. And I loved every minute I was in this book. I do have another full video review on this one, so I'm not going to go too much into detail here, but if you haven't already and you like the idea of nuns battling and working with possessive demons to slay other possessive mighty demons, then this is one for you. Shush! I loved reading this book. I probably will read it again in a few years to come, but I would recommend it to anybody. And now we are on to the shining 5 stars, which comprise of 3 books. I got 3 5 stars in 2 months. It's good going for me, considering I had such a slow lead up this year, and I was quite worried that I wasn't going to get one. The first 5-star read I had is my favourite Agatha Christie one, is Death on the Nile. I love everything about this book. I have read it countless times. I love the setting, I love the characters, I love the motivations, I just love everything about it. I can't praise it enough. I love it. There's just loads of death and double dealing, and it's perfect. And the next 5-star book I read is an arc. It's the ending of this trilogy it is the ending of the Rainfallen trilogy, that being A Cask-Aged Blade by Benjamin of Erin. And I do have a full review video for that with no spoilers, because it is an arc. It's not out yet. It comes out, I think, it comes out on the 5th of June, so it might already be out when this video drops, depending on when I schedule it for. But I loved this book. This whole trilogy has just been 5 stars across the board. I can't get enough of it. And you would think that with all that build up that it could slow down at the end, but it doesn't. It's just wonderfully written. It's a wonderful world. They're wonderful characters with a wonderful story. The story is what makes this. It's a world full of where fantasy and dystopian future mashes together with English legend. I love it. I will probably read it again, and I will be buying it because it will go with the other two that are over there, which I think you can see on camera. There. That's where the other two are. And the last 5-star read of the month was Witch King, and this was, I read this in April. It was one of the only books I did read in April, but it was the Illumicrate. It came in one of the Illumicrate book boxes last year, and yes, I have only just got around to reading it, but I thought it wasn't going to be that much. I didn't think it would be really for me. I ended up loving every page of it. And I think one of the reasons why I loved this book is there's no romance in this. It is just pure fantasy. Kai is the Witch King. He has all these powers. People are after him to have those powers or to get him out of the way because of the political goings on. I loved every page of it. You can find it. I've done a full review of it, a full review video for it. But if you haven't already and you like fantasy, get reading this. It's not soppy, it's not soppy, it's not sappy, it's just pure fantasy, and there is death and there is gore and there is political strugglings and strivings and just double dealings, and I loved it. But that is my reading wrap up done. If you have read any books in the past couple of months that have been so high on your chart, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for all future content, and remember to just keep reading. Unless it's a bad book, and then just feel comfortable DNFing it.